Hello, beautiful spirits. Shakima here. I just wanted to stop in for today's Tools for Using Tools Tuesday. Haven't done one of these for a minute, and I figured there's no time like the present to really get into the swing of things. And this is going to be a little bit different. I'm also going to be sharing my artistic expression, if you will, of the actual topic today, which is rejection. Um, so I'm sure that this is probably something that we can all sort of resonate with. This is something that we can all, at some point in our life or another, sort of reflect on for our personal, I guess, connection to the word of some sort. Whether that be feeling rejected from a friend, a family, a loved one, just people that we come across in our interaction. So definitely be sure to give it a thumbs up if you do like what I have to say on this. I mean, if you aren't particularly sort of here for it too, give it a thumbs down. But definitely be sure to leave me a comment below so that I can, get some feedback and utilize it as constructive criticism to be able to bring this information across to you guys in a way that you guys are able to receive it, because that is my only intention for these Tools for Using Tools Tuesday segments. Okay. So, before I get into everything, I have uploaded some readings for today, so do be sure to check those out. I am still in the process of getting those readings out for this week, but I'll definitely be sure to keep the ball rolling with that for you guys. Be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe for the segment for today. So I'm going to shut up now and get straight into it, just so that we're not sort of overlapsing on time. And I want to keep this short, concise, and to the point for you guys. So rejection's quite a funny one. When we think about rejection, we think about somebody kind of turning us away. We think about, a feeling of being in a place where you're unwanted. And really, I think what rejection, having the pattern, because that's what it is, these are circumstantial patterns that show up in our experience to teach us something about ourselves first and foremost. But having the pattern of rejection show up in my life, I really had to go back to the roots of understanding where that rejection came from, to understand how it's actually playing out in my personal experience of myself as well as the people around me. And I was able to, interestingly enough, take that pattern of rejection all the way back to my relationship with my mum in the womb. So for a lot of us, if you don't know, we are literally byproducts of our environment. And that environment, when we think about it, we assume that it is the external world once we are here manifested in physical form. But we are also manifested in physical form as we are in the womb, growing as a seed that has been, planted in fertilized soil, i.e. the mother's womb. And a lot of what the mother is, enduring becomes our pre-programmed perspective of the world that we will live out in terms of cycles and patterns for ourselves as well. So for me, understanding first and foremost my parents' relationship gave me an understanding, because rejection is actually, is kind of like, it stems from the feeling of neglect. Neglect bleeds over and overflows and then creates the feeling of rejection. So again, it's a process of understanding how these patterns kind of create, how can I put it? They create paths for us, essentially. And we have to kind of understand what triggers, because some emotional, residues, like the feeling of rejection, stems from a greater cause or a greater purpose or a greater emotional baggage that has caused this reaction, because rejection is a reactionary emotion as opposed to a action emotion. Okay, you have to kind of feel that way by being triggered into that state of mind and being. So just to sort of stay on topic, guys, understanding more about the fact that my mum was a young mum, she was a teen mum, and my dad was an absentee father. And before he was an absentee father, I'm sure that he was an absentee partner. That in itself would have left my mother feeling neglected at times, which unfortunately is also a byproduct of my patterns playing out in terms of my own personal relationships with men. So just for some of you guys that are wondering, why there is such disruptions and dysfunction within your relationship circumstances and why you tend to feel rejected from time to time, it goes deeper than it appears to the physical eyes. You probably assume that why is this person rejecting me? This is the first time I've ever felt this way. No, this is the first time you've ever felt this deeply because you hadn't learned your lessons from being rejected time and time and time again. So Spirit is really giving you an opportunity to feel it at its core so that you may be able to maybe rip it out from the root to understand, why it's here, what it's here to teach you, what it's here to show you, and also hopefully so that you don't sort of bleed that sickness into the next generation of your lineage as well. That is the intention from my perspective. So for me, understanding that my rejection stemmed from being in the womb, first and foremost, understanding that my mum was having a relationship with my absentee father, who was an absentee partner as well, just living his best life, no personal feelings on that, and there's no personal feelings towards her on the situation as well. My mother was someone that had an absentee father herself. Her dad died when she was 10 months old, so naturally rejection was a pre-programmed perspective that she had even growing up as young as, I want to say, 6 years old. I tend to have a lot of combative energy with her 6-year-old child when I'm going through issues with feeling like I'm being neglected, with feeling like I'm being rejected in some ways. That 6-year-old child that has taken on this illness based on the adults around her, I guess, their actions, her reactionary processing, feeling rejected, that then not being healed has trickled down the generation, and here I am. Ta-da! A baggage of dysfunction, but I'm working through my stuff so that the next generation beyond me doesn't necessarily have to be impacted by the same circumstantial baggage as I've had to endure for my all of 29 years thus far. So that being said, I also then came to the realization that it wasn't personal. My mum just felt this way as I was in the womb. There were pre-programmed perspectives that were playing themselves out, and also outside of that, as I mentioned, my mum was a young mum, so it's scary becoming a parent at 18, 19 years old, and considering that you don't necessarily have the best upbringing yourself, if you will. There's certain things that you personally would like to change about your upbringing yourself. That's a very scary sort of process. So naturally, it would be instinctive for my mom's body somewhat to want to reject me. And I say that not even to be mean or rude. And as I say that, I feel the connection for my inner child really sort of connecting to that, vibration, connecting to that aspect, because that is my spirit's truth. Before I became this adult version of myself, that child, that wounded child within me experienced this type of reactionary hormonal chemical impact on my vessel as an innocent, as a child, as a fetus, if you will, even. So that being said, one must first really understand the dynamics of the environmental factors causing one to be triggered to feel rejected, because again, rejection is a reactionary emotion, which stems from the actionary emotion of neglect. Okay, and with that, you must really sort of understand the dynamics of your relationship with your parents before you came here. essentially. So whilst you were in the womb, understanding more about what their relationship dynamics were, also understanding what kind of mindset your mother was in during the time of your pregnancy, I guess, during the time of your conception. What was the seeds that continued to kind of nurture you as you were in the womb, because these are things that are going to impact you psychologically as you navigate through your process as an individual. And also what I learned with rejection is that by, mum and dad teaching me how to reject my own self, because that's what happens in the process. They teach you how to reject your feelings, reject your emotions, how to suppress your feelings and emotions. And there are parts of yourself that you then learn how to neglect, i.e. thereby rejecting those aspects of your character as well. Okay, it's all a psycholatry trigger for trigger sort of situation. One thing triggers the next, triggers the next, triggers the next. I do inner child healing as a profession and a hobby, because it's something that I utilize myself for my own personal growth and development, and it's something that is going to be a lifelong process for my own personal evolution. So all of that amazingness being said, I just want to give you guys an opportunity to bask in a poem. And the best way that I can put it is that this poem is written by my inner child. I was going through an emotional processing recently throughout my recent spiritual awakening, where I was dealing with daddy issues, mummy issues, issues that basically created my wounded adult avatar, and understanding what my wounded child is perceiving her experience to be, that is creating forthright into my external existence. Okay. So yeah, these are her words through, I guess, my expression. Rejection has me out here looking at life through the lenses of my imperfections. Rejection has me nursing my wounds and all of my heart's afflictions. Rejection has become a part of my internal projections, attacking me from the inside out. My inner self screams and shouts, begging to be seen, yearning to have someone so keen, someone that's sure of who they are, not someone that's in between. Trying to be a man, but haven't outlived the patterns of him as a teen. I say none of this to be mean. Sometimes rejection just isn't quite what it seems. Rejection has me wrapped up in identity confliction. I know I can become someone else, but I'm lost in my depression, unsure of who I am because of all of my suppression. As I work through my baggage, I find myself in isolation, locked down in the darkness of all of my acts of procrastination. I know I need to stand up, be more present, and involved in God's nation. But sometimes I get thrown off course, forgetting that I am a part of His creation. Rejection can't penetrate me when I've got God as my protection. As long as I am alive, I'm in alignment with the universal intention. Rejection used to be how I thought life had to be, but having worked my way through to the other side, now I see. Rejection was simply here to show me how much I rejected that youthful inner me. All of my wants and desire, all for dreams of being someone that I thought I wanted to aspire to be. Now that I am clear, I have no fear. Rejection. I love all of my imperfections. Through all the BS, I've learned how to love me. Thank you to Divine. Thank you to the Divine for giving me life. So mote it be. Ashe. I hope that that resonated with someone somewhere out there that is going through their own emotional processing. And as I release that, I can feel my womb pulsating, because this is probably something that has then impacted my womb, because it was something that I experienced being in the womb. And these are things that we need to really sort of understand, because these things subsequently manifest as illnesses and ailments for us as adult reflections of our childhood baggage and suppressed emotional states of affairs. So you are the president of your own United States, and it is important for you to be able to firstly speak your truth. And in order to speak the truth, it has to first be acknowledged for it to be able to be communicated effectively, so that healing can take place. Okay, I hope that someone out there that is experiencing their own internal rejection today can receive this and get their own personal clarity, get their own personal insight, and can really utilize it for their own healing process of letting go of their feelings of neglect and subsequent rejection. I'm sending you guys nothing but love, light, and positive intentions for the journey. Until next time, beloveds. Ashe.